Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's video is a very special Fletcher feature. As those of you who've watched my channel will know, I have a specific love affair with this particular destroyer, because it is, in my opinion, the best tier 9.5 destroyer in the game. And I have recently hit my 1000th battle in this ship. So, because people will ask, and you always do, to start this off, we're going to take a look at how I have this ship set up for modules and captain skills before we get to the epic battle itself. Starting off, I've got main armaments modification 1. This reduces the risk of your main battery and your torpedo tubes becoming incapacitated in battle. This is very, very important, as we'll see with the captain skills and other modules that I have, which actually increase the likelihood of them becoming incapacitated. And the reason I have these modules, of course, is to make this ship even better. Second up, propulsion modification 1 reduces the chance of your engine becoming knocked out, reduces the repair time. Aiming systems 1 there, pretty self-explanatory. Propulsion modification 2 gets that top speed of the ship up by 50% when going from a dead stop. Very important when you're trying to torpedo beats in smoke. Of course, the all-important concealment modification 1. And the last one, torpedo tubes modification 3. Now, this increases greatly the chance of your torpedo tubes becoming incapacitated, which is why you need that first one, but it reduces the time your torpedoes take to reload. Very important on this ship. That's what you have to do to get them down. Unlike other Fletcher players, I prefer to use the speed boost consumable for reasons. Mainly, I'm only going to see a carrier once out of every 4 battles, so I'd rather have something I'm going to use every battle as opposed to once every now and again. Preventative maintenance reduces further the torpedo tubes getting knocked out. Last stand, of course, very self-explanatory, very important if you're on a destroyer. Survivability expert. If you are playing in a destroyer, this is an absolute must, especially with the Fletcher. Gotta get that. Torpedo armament expertise. This reduces the reload time once more of those torpedo tubes, and that is also very important. Superintendent gets you that extra speed boost, extra smoke consumable. I always run out of those by the end of the battle, provided I haven't been killed. Demolition expert, because I like setting fires and I like confusing battleship players why an American destroyer keeps setting them on fire. And of course, concealment expert for the reduction in visibility. Very important on this destroyer. All of that said and done gives you a concealment of 5.8 kilometers, but more importantly, it gives you a torpedo reload of 81.1 seconds. Incredibly fast, almost 10 full seconds shorter than a minute and a half, and these torpedoes are very, very destructive. Now, that's how I have my Fletcher set up, the modifications and the captain's skills. Let's get to the battle itself. Battle starts. Now, as the battle gets underway here, it's north, it's domination mode, and this is my 1000th game in the Fletcher, and it turned out to be a pretty good game. Not my best damage in the world, not the most kills in the world, but certainly something easily enjoyable to watch. As the battle gets underway, I have spawned closest to the A cap point. So the A cap point is where I'm going to go. It is a tier 10 maximum battle. There are tier 10 destroyers in the game, but fortunately no carriers. There is radar in the game, and I do need to be concerned about that. And there is also an enemy Minotaur in the game too. One particular cruiser that I absolutely cannot stand to deal with, partly because of its high rate of fire and the fact that he always seems to be able to figure out that I'm about to close in on him and kill him. Unless, of course, I get lucky and manage to torpedo it. Pushing forward towards the A cap point, you'll notice here on the minimap, yes, I have increased the size of the minimap. I've also made it more transparent so that I can increase the size of the minimap. I do have a couple of destroyers heading over here with me. It's also important to note that on the enemy team has a Fletcher, but the enemy team also has that premium version of the Fletcher, the Black. And the Black, if you haven't encountered it, is basically the Fletcher. It has all of the benefits of the Fletcher, but it also gets a 7.5 5-kilometer short duration radar, so it can become a very big nightmare. If you run into one, you pop a smoke screen thinking, oh, I'll be fine. Nope, he's going to radar you, and because of the rate of fire of this ship, and if he's got backup, you're going to find yourself very quickly a dead destroyer. Firing off torpedoes there at the enemy battleship, the Amagi in the distance there, who's started to turn away. I think he's going to stay outside of my torpedo range there. Really kind of disappointed there. But as you see here, as I push up, there is the enemy Tier 10 Khabarovsk. He's pushing over here. Lucky me, he's well outside of detection range, and it doesn't look like there's any radar on this side of the battle for me to have to deal with. And that's going to be very important for me, because radar is cancer, as we know. Now that Khabarovsk is continuing to sail broadside, and it looks like he is inside of my torpedo range. Is he going to get hit? Can I possibly hit him with 2? That would be wonderful if I could. Nope, only 1 there. It's a little bit unfortunate. If he had moved just a little further forward, I'd hit him with 3, and he would have been dead destroyer. But that's okay. It's still a torpedo hit. It's still going to cause him problems, and even if he's got the repair party consumable, that's a lot of damage that he can't repair. Enemy team has managed to secure the B cap point. Of course, if you'll notice there on the minimap, the last known spotting of both the Black and the Fletcher, so 2 very, very dangerous destroyers working in conjunction with each other, really going to cause problems. But, of course, we have a friendly American light cruiser that's over there and can absolutely wreck these 2 destroyers, as we see the Worcester doing. He is destroying this Fletcher. If you find yourself in the Fletcher facing off against a cruiser like this, stop firing, break contact, and effectively just run away. Hit your speed boost. This is why I use it. Open up that distance and try and start maneuvering. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to find yourself very quickly a dead destroyer. I fired off a set of torpedoes down that channel because I wasn't entirely sure where the Black was or if there was something hiding back in that channel. Plus, that Fletcher looks like he might be trying to run towards that channel. Unfortunately for me and my torpedoes, they're not going to hit anything, as the Worcester manages to secure a first blood in the game by taking out the enemy Fletcher. More importantly, he's managed to force the Black to run away. My team has secured the C cap point, and now I'm going to push up into the B cap point. The enemy team spent a lot of effort to try and take it, and they do have a lot of ships back over here that could challenge me, including that smoke screen there. I think the Minotaur's back over there. And yep, sure enough. But if I can get up here and put pressure on it, we can prevent the enemy team from gaining points. Remember, in domination battle mode, it's not just about killing the enemy ships, you have to also consider getting these caps for those points. The only reason that my team is currently in the lead is because we have secured that first blood and we've taken out 1 of their destroyers. Not the highest value target though. Now, I opted not to go into the B cap point because there were a lot of cruisers over there, and I don't really want that Minotaur or the Runes to come and rush me. Both of the Runes have that German Hydro. Both could be a serious problem for me if they opted to do that. Looks like the Minotaur continues sailing in a nice straight line there, and it's about this point that he realizes there are torpedoes. Doesn't quite manage to make the turn quickly enough, and I do manage to connect 1 on him. Of course, though, only 1 torpedo, 1 flooding. He is going to put the flooding out right away. And if it wasn't for the fact that he's got himself a Rune as a backup and his high rate of fire, I would have opened up on him and tried to set him on fire, because then he would just burn down. Of course, I also don't have any backup over here as well, so friendly team can't take advantage of the fact that he's put out that flooding right away. Shimikaze's friendly torpedoes there nearly connect on that Minotaur. That would have been great because, of course, he put the flooding out. He would have probably flooded again, and that would have caused him some serious problems as well. The enemy team has managed to pull the scores back just a little bit. They've managed to kill a cruiser. They've managed to kill 1 of our destroyers, but we've taken out a battleship of theirs, so we're still in the points lead. They are in the process of capping C. But that's alright, my team is starting to capture D, and yes, this is the old map layout. Don't ask me why Wargaming switched back to this, or why it popped up, because this was a recent battle. I'm nearly in command of the B cap point. Drive the enemy black out of the C cap point, so we're going to still have 2 here. Enemy team's capping the A cap point, but we know it's back over there. We know there's a destroyer. We know there's a Zhao as well. So I'm going to get myself turned around, and I'm going to see what I can do to provide assistance for the friendly destroyer that's got himself back over here, facing off against those cruisers. Especially because that seems to be where the bulk majority of the enemy team is concentrated. We have an enemy rune who's pushing up between this channel. Not sure if he's going to stay down there or not, considering friendly Yugamo has got torpedoes pushing out there. Torpedoes coming in here. I popped my smoke screen by accident. Didn't want to do that. Wanted to hit my speed boost here, try and get in front of those torpedoes, but of course it doesn't matter anyway. The torpedoes ran out of steam well short of me. Another reason why I like the speed boost consumable is because if you find yourself in a situation where you've got torpedoes closing in on you, rather than try and turn and dodge them, you can simply hit your speed boost and outrun the spread. Doesn't always work depending on where you're at, but it does help occasionally. That rune has managed to beach himself, so I'm going to start throwing torpedoes his direction. He's got to change directions at some point, and depending on which way he goes, I might be able to connect with a torpedo or 2 on him as well. At the very least, being back over here, I can keep him spotted for the friendly team that is back over here. There's the enemy Harborovsk pushing up, continuing to fire. He's getting shots out on our battleship, and that's going to cause our battleship some problems. But the Harborovsk flamethrower that it is not alone. That battleship has got another major problem in the respect that there's an enemy Zhao over here as well. Now, I open up on this Harborovsk initially because I figured, well, I could probably cause him some problems, and he's got less health than I do, and that's about the point that I realized I done fucked up, because now I've got the Rune, who's changed directions, has got shots out, plus the Zhao that's back over there, and of course the Harborovsk has a rate of fire that's pretty close to about the same as the Fletcher there, but he's got more guns, and they do more damage. So, stop firing, continuing to move over here, using my speed boost to open up the distance, drop off detectability. You'll notice that my torpedo tube got knocked out there, but it didn't stay knocked out for too long, and it didn't get destroyed outright. This is one of the reasons why you have to use that preventative maintenance skill, and why you want to use that main armaments mod 1 as well. Especially if you're using the torpedo reload module, which I, again, highly recommend for that 81-second torpedo reload, because otherwise, that probably would have just destroyed that torpedo tube, and then I'd only have 1. And playing with 1 on this ship really does limit your ability to do well in this ship. Not saying that you can't use your guns and turn yourself into a gun-only ship, it's just the Fletcher is so good at being an omni-role destroyer, torpedo boat, or gunboat, that losing one of those options early on in a battle can be a significant issue. Now I've decided I'm going to turn around and I'm going to head up back to the other side, towards the enemy team's spawn point. And I'm going to do this because there are some ships back over there, plus I don't really want to engage that Harborovsk anymore. As well as our friendly Tirpitz back down behind that island isn't doing anything, and I don't really want to go down and defend him. I also don't want to go down and defend him because he's probably going to burn down at any moment. The enemy team manages to take the lead here as far as ships go, as they do manage to secure yet another kill, and again, that Tirpitz probably going to burn down. So I'm pushing up here, I'm being cautious. There's an enemy Rune there. He is kind of close, but it looks like he's not turning towards me, so I'm going to keep my distance a little bit. I don't want him to spot me. I don't want to be focused down at this particular moment in time. And looking at the situation on the minimap for last known target positions, there's a possibility there's a couple battleships back over here for me to attack. So as I push up here, there's one of them, enemy Amagi, that I was actually shooting at the beginning of the battle. He's pushing back up and around here again. Don't want to push around through that gap because I would be spotted and I don't need to be shot at. Enemy team loses yet another ship, and more importantly, they're down to just 1 destroyer, and that's the Harborovsk. This is both good and bad news for my team because it's a Harborovsk, but it's good news because it's a Harborovsk. It means we'll be able to see it quite a distance out. I fire torpedoes down that channel, not really expecting to hit anything, but you never know. If the Harborovsk continues to sail, maybe trying to be sneaky, trying to go up that channel, especially because he knows there's a cruiser back over here, he might sail into them. It is a possibility. In the meantime, I'm going to use my other set of torpedoes, and I'm going to fire off at the Conqueror. Now, I could have fired off at the Amagi, but the Conqueror is always a juicier target. It's got a lot more health, and it's a lot more dangerous. Hey, and look at that! The Harmarovs continued to sail right up that channel, and unfortunately for him, he zigged when he should have zagged, and he wasn't able to torpedo beats. So I secure my first kill in the game on that enemy destroyer, and now there are no enemy destroyers left. Both teams are equal on ships, but my team now has the destroyer advantage, and as you'll know from any of my battles, I always say the team that gains the destroyer advantage will usually go on to secure victory. Now I know the enemy Minotaur is in that smokescreen. I can see his shots coming out there. I have an enemy rune to contend with, and of course I've got the Conqueror and the Amagi back behind me. Not really worried about the Amagi, but the Conqueror's high explosive, because we know that's what he's firing, could cause me a serious issue. Now, I fire off one set of torpedoes into that smoke screen about where I think that Minotaur is sitting, and I've got a second set that's going to be ready here in about 10 seconds, so I'm not going to blindly rush around this island and try and suicide on this rune in hopes that I get a kill. Instead, I'm going to use this island as cover so that I'm hidden from this guy as he decides what he's going to do here. Now, he does decide he's going to turn hard and away here as my team loses yet another ship. And because we're losing ships, it's really the only thing keeping the enemy team in the game at this moment. Team's still up on points here. There's the Minotaur. Am I going to hit him? Yeah, come on. There's one. Not quite. Only one torpedo hit. Really disappointing there. You can see he's put the flooding out yet again. But hey, that rune continued to come around from that island, and at the ranges that I was at, wasn't gonna miss, and so I finish him off. There's my second kill in the game. Now, I know that Minotaur is back up in this smoke screen. I've got torpedoes up in 20 seconds, but of course, as I rush up here, Minotaur's smoke screen disappears. Switch over to the armor piercing. I'm that close, and there's a Citadel. Now, this Minotaur has his guns trained on me. I've got more health, but he's got a rate of fire that matches my own. There's more Citadels, so he's going to start shooting me. He also has torpedoes. Finish him off. 5 Citadels in the game there. Tactical beaching. Pop a smoke screen so the battleships behind me can't see me. Am I going to dodge the torpedoes? Yes, I do. Nothing like a little tactical beaching action to secure yourself a torpedo beats. More importantly, the enemy ships back in the backfield can no longer see me. I've dropped off detection. Plus, they're at the beat cap point anyway. My team now sitting in the 970 points range. Enemy team is at B, but my team still has the D cap point, so we're still gaining points. And at this point, there's a little over 5 minutes left in the game. Even if they manage to kill everything on my team, I don't think they would actually be in a points lead, but it would certainly be close. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push up into the C cap point, help secure it, provided we don't win beforehand on points or by killing that last ship, or one last ship, I should say, and winning on points. So as I push in here into the C cap point, it's all just going to be a matter of whether or not we cap out on points with that one cap left, or if the enemy team can hang in there just a little bit longer and kill something. But looking at the situation, we're at 995 points, 998 points. We only need 3 more seconds to secure victory. I don't even think I'm going to secure the C cap point before we cap out on points. And there is my 1000th game in the Fletcher. And a nice victory. Only 103,000 damage done in that game, though, but it's always nice when you're in a destroyer, especially a little American one, to secure 5 Citadels on an enemy cruiser. Top of the team for XP earned there, 2,500 base XP. Look at that. The next guy on the team, the Wooster, 2,300 base XP. So both of us doing really, really well. Well outscoring everybody on our team and outscoring everybody, of course, on the enemy team. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, as well as get early sneak peeks at these videos, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to have me take a look at, maybe see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, albeit intermittently, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.